here's a Coach Dave Thrill of the Fight 2 podcast exclusive. Every track on the album that I spent the time making, from the artist that I chose to work with me on it to the music, intentionally was designed for a different type of player that would be playing the game.
And something like that didn't even come to until 40 years into life. It's just intense. So maybe, but accidentally, you're not only teaching the viewer that's listening to this, and maybe they're a little bit younger, and maybe they're older, maybe they're in their 50s, and they're just like, and then you're like, just give it a some time, let it cook, let it marinate a little bit longer.
Let them cook.
Yeah. Oh, whoops! I'm talking like the youngins, but.
Stevie Wonder, Master Blaster. That song specifically changed my life. It as a young child, that song did some digital voodoo on me, and I said, whatever this song is making me feel, I want to make other people feel this way with music.
Mr. Watt, thank you so much for coming on to the YouTube page, the Thrill of the Fight 2 YouTube page. You are the 4th episode of the. I'm not calling it a podcast yet. We're just sitting down and talking, okay?
Gotcha.
But you are the 4th episode of someone coming on and having really good conversations with me. How are you doing today, man? You a little backstory for everyone watching, just right off the bat. Mr. Watt is the guy behind all the music for Thrill of the Fight 2. So whenever you load up to the game, all the content. For me as a content creator, I think arguably I've heard this album more than anyone in the entire world. The amount of editing and like stuff that I go through and the amount of times I hear the album is just insane. So it's awesome to be across from the guy that made it all. You got the first opportunity, or maybe not the first opportunity, maybe this year to sit down with the team. And that was like an hour and a half ago. How are you feeling?
Yeah.
How are you feeling coming off that meeting? You got to sit in with the whole Thrill team and kind of engage a little bit and talk about the future. And yeah, how are you doing? What's going on? Hi.
I'm like everybody else right now. I'm still a fan of the game, of the franchise. I've gotten to play it for the last year. Spent many years on the music, still there for it. The community is dope. Like back in the early days, way back in my day, didn't think it would be a community built around it this strong, this fast. And it's been amazing. It's been really dope to see. And to see people into fitness, that's been the biggest thing for me. It's like when you marry games with fitness, and we're all gamers at heart, like it's dope. I've dropped some poundage.
No, I was going to say, yeah, it starts to kind of bleed into the benefits of real life. You're not just like playing Call of Duty and like talking it up on chat. Like you're like actually your body physically and even like emotionally maybe is like going through evolution as you're playing a video game, which is kind of insane. But yeah. I totally get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Thinking about what you've done post a match is something new for me. Right? It's like I'm analyzing why I won, if I won, and I'm also analyzing why I lost, if I lost. And the first thing that I'm doing is chalking it up to user error, right? Like I'm not as fit and as strong as I used to be, and I know it, but it makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
In the moment.
That's really good that's where your brain goes, because maybe statistically the opposite happens. It's like, what is it that obviously it's not? I am a flawless human being. I am the you know what I mean? So, like the most, maybe, at least from my experience, it seems like most maybe go the opposite route. So it's good on you to have an experience that maybe isn't so favorable. And you're like, oh, I should probably get in better shape, or I should probably, dodge instead of, go this way instead of that way, or, I should have better blocking or whatever it is. So to say user error is pretty rare.
Yeah. It's, to give reference, I'm 6'3", 225 pounds. I'm in okay shape for my age, right? But I know I'm not as fast as I could be or as I once was. And I'm working to get back to that. Because with the wingspan comes telegraphing. Yep. You can't help but have, like, my arms are really, really long. Like I play basketball. So it's a little different in basketball versus boxing. So
Mhm.
my long arm punch coming at you, you can see it a mile away before it gets there, and you can move out the way. Versus a shorter arm, in my opinion, I'm not an expert. I'm asking an expert now. That's why. So a shorter arm can get out there and come back faster versus me speeding up from the shoulder to the elbow to come back.
Mhm.
So I get caught a lot and I have to move back a lot because it takes me longer to get in and get out. So I'm a little bit more strategic with how I approach the game, even
Yeah.
from AI and other players. And I'm left handed.
That's a perk, I think. I think being the southpaw is like the unicorn, especially if you're naturally. Are you left-handed or are you southpaw? Like at
Not
least.
natural left handed. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. See, I feel like the natural lefties that are southpaw are like the unicorns because you don't see them very often, and when you go against them, you're not used to going against them very often because they move a certain way. And like 95 of the population is right-handed, so you're kind of used to seeing
Yeah.
it that way, you know. So yeah, the lefties are the unicorns, I think. But no, you know, it's having that long reach and being at distance versus the shorter reach. Yes, they're going to see them coming. Yes, it's going to take longer. You know, and you kind of went through it towards the end of what you said. You kind of like you have to be strategic. You have to like think about, okay, well, if I'm taking too like if my strikes are taking too long or they're telegraphed, and that's causing a reaction, which is me getting hit, then how do I counter that? You know, maybe if I'm not going to counter the speed or lack of speed, I'm going to counter, you know, the guy coming in and firing, you know. Or maybe that is, oh, if I'm too slow here, maybe I add a quick feint and that creates the bite and then I counter off or something. You know, you can start like going through the process of how do I counter this me being slower or longer than the other guy, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
for
other guy's
sure.
doing the same thing, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh crap, like I can't reach him too much, you know. He can touch me and he's way over there and I can't even touch him. So then I gotta think past the attributes that I have and the body that I have. But anywho, now I'm just rambling about
The sweet
trying to solve
science,
it.
though, that's
Hmm.
like the old adage of boxing from a long time ago. There's a method. There's a chess game being played, and based on what you're working with at that point in time, I think is really dope. I come from on my mom's side of the family. There are boxers and uncles, cousins, and whatnot that are really good, and I was able to be exposed to some of that in some of the trainings and some of the things that went along with it that I took in a different direction, however, which is how we ended up here. But I still respected it and I still enjoyed it. And it was a part of the culture where I come from. It was boxing gyms. You know, I'm from Chicago.
Hmm.
There, there's been plenty of boxers that come out of there. There's been plenty of boxers that nobody knows that were great on their feet. Oh, the footwork was crazy. Like, you know, we're known for dancing and they would be dancing in the ring at the
Hmm.
same time.
No, yeah, and you bring up being in. You're born and raised in Chicago.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you're not in Chicago now, right?
I'm not. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio now.
Okay, and I mean, just out of my own curiosity, I'm gonna take a left turn because I want to get. I want to make sure that people know your involvement in the game is music and the album inside of the game, but how much of that's inside of the game did we see those Chicago roots? You have your music, and I'm sure you have your style of music, but I feel like when it comes to thrill, it's more niche. You know, it's kind of like specific. You know, it's not like totally you. It's like you and this new project, and now we're kind of merging. So, like, how much of that Chicago roots did we see in Thrill of the Fight 2 album? Like, is there a style that came from those roots? Do we see it in, you know, subliminally inside of the Thrill album, or like how did that play in?
Oh, for sure. The the roots to the album came from life experience in the third largest city in the country at the time. From those same environments that was talked about through boom bap and hip hop culture. So your Grandmaster Flash, your Cool Mo D's, your Run DMCs. I'm from the exact same environment
Yeah.
in a different space in the Midwest, right? And being a big city like that, we had the same opportunities and disadvantages and quirks that, let's say, a New York had for Brooklyn, for Queens, for any of those places. So I was able to draw from, speaking specifically for title track of the project, that came from actually me being in the gym. Just really. And I thought I had it. I learned the speed bag. I didn't really like the heavy bag. It was something about the speed bag that I thoroughly enjoyed. Maybe it was like the metronome running in it
Yeah, I was gonna
that
say maybe
allowed me
like
to
the
do some
genuine
things.
rhythm that you have to have with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't require a lot of, effort, so to
Hmm.
speak, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
light touches on it to be able to do different things. And I leaned on my experience with that from a younger age and how what's funny, me and Ian talked about this before. When I saw the gym, the home gym in the game, it is very similar to the gym that I was actually in.
Is that
From like the lighting,
by chance?
I don't I don't know. The universe speaks in
Yeah,
different
yeah, yeah. Okay,
ways.
yeah.
It was the colors are different, but the gym felt really the same with the open exposed pillars for those that haven't played the game with stuff hanging from them and stuff in the corner. You had these like dingy windows that was there that was facing south, right? So the sunlight would come through there, but the room was not really lit as well. The gym inside of Thrill is lit way better. But if you remember the movie like Bad Boys, where he went to meet the girl in the gym,
Hmm.
it's kind of felt like that. And I leaned on that and what that felt like, what music was playing there, how damp was the air at that point in time, what's going through your mind when you're training and nobody's talking to you. And
That's
so,
that's so interesting to even hear. Whenever you put yourself in the oh, let me ask that. Did you put yourself in that position and like kind of maybe like with envision kind of live out that character even beyond what you were experiencing? So you're creating this story and then feeling emotions based on the story that you're creating to write a song.
yeah,
Right? Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
that sounds like magic. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both asynchronous.
Hmm.
They both live in the same space at different times. And for me, it was like, what was I thinking? Yeah, I'm doing this because it's the thrill of the fight. Like it's the adrenaline that I get from activating my body in this way. Not necessarily, at least for me, I didn't have any, aspirations of really hurting another human. That was not a fun thing. But challenging yourself in a physical capacity to see how far you could go,
Yeah.
that's is always you can insert whatever you want to insert at the end. It's the thrill of whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And the fight is the one that I think that most people can identify with in some form of fashion. I used to love slapbox. It's one of my favorite things to do. It was just it's it's a cat and mouse dance type of game, another chess, one of those things that you can do that I enjoy. Yeah.
That's insane to think about because now I feel like whenever I hear the songs, I'll I'll listen a little bit more carefully, and I'll be able to kind of use my own imagination of what you were thinking throughout the process and how this this person went through this story, and maybe that's how I'm going to hear it now, not necessarily listening to a song, but kind of listening to the story of this person that's going through something. Because I've never even thought to think of it from that perspective, which is going to be exciting to go back and hear it and see what this guy's going through, which is kind of fun.
So
We need to create some lore behind this guy.
you here's a Coach Dave Thrill of the Fight to podcast exclusive. Every track on the album that I spent the time making, from the artist that I chose to work with me on it to the music intentionally was designed for a different type of player that would be playing the game. So if you listen to a specific type of song, the the theme song is a southpaw gritty type of song. It's I'm doing this because this is what I thoroughly enjoy doing. And I'm in a mind frame to where I'm going to push myself in every capacity that I can without breaking the enjoyment.
In your
When you
head,
stop it,
what was the enjoyment?
what was the enjoyment? The physical activity. It was one of the
Oh, you
things
kind of
like,
mentioned it, sorry, but like the thrill of the fight, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
The I liked jumping rope in the gym.
Mhm.
That was one of the weirdest things. And I jumped double dutch, you know, after the fact. It was the physical activity of being able to lift myself off the ground like that
Mhm.
with that purpose. And, you know, we had foot races. You know, you always wanted to be the fastest one
Yeah.
if you were racing from car to street light and so forth. Like that type of thing. So when you move from that song to All Angles featuring AC the Entity, it's this guy that has it's a fighter that has a mobile package, the dangerous guy that can slip, that can switch stances on you real quick. His jab is nice, but his hook is mean. You'll never see the uppercut, right? And then he'll make you chase him for a little while just to get you in your head, out of your head a little bit. Like, why is this guy running from me in the ring? We're supposed to be,
Mhm.
and he'll, you know, not taunting, but he'll move around some. And then he'll purposely practice, like your couple videos you did. He'll purposely practice defense on you after he checks where you are. Like if your punches, what punch does the least damage to him, and he'll absorb some of those, right? So
Mhm.
that's All Angles. And you'll get somebody that feels like they can get you from every position that they can think of within that four wall square that you're in.
There's absolutely no way I'm gonna listen to it because as you're saying the words of the song, I can again. I probably heard all these like all these songs the most out of anyone that exists on the planet. Maybe you, maybe you probably heard these a little bit more than I have. But like whenever you start to say the albums and like my head can kind of like already like insert it in, and then I can kind of like finish the sentence and like hear the rest of the story. Like that's where my brain is now. I'm gonna put it on in the car when I leave so I can really just like not be distracted by the fight and just listen to the to the words. And so, yeah, so it's I'm just so curious now. I want to go like song by song and just listen to each one and see what they got going on.
I wanted to match boxing styles with song styles. Every boxer, every athlete from wrestling to, you know, one-on-one type of things, everybody has a walkout song.
Mm-hmm.
There's a song for every player on there. There's one that's missing. There's an Easter egg song that didn't make the project, and but I did my best to make a walkout song for everybody that would get into the game. And I hope everyone can find one song that resonates with them that they'll be like, that's my jam. So when it comes on at the beginning, before you know, when the radio's on, before you get ready to box, if it puts you in that headspace, I've done my job. And that's all I wanted to do.
That is a it's exciting. And it as a content creator for the throw page, it it puts like ideas in my head. I'm like, oh, I can take this and kind of attach it to certain people or such like what you said like it's a certain styles in the way I edit this stuff. Like I listen to each album. I literally will play my footage and then put track one and like play and play footage and kind of see how that's okay. No, okay, well, track two, maybe okay, track three fits a little better, but I got to tweak some footage. And so I listen to this stuff, maybe even a little, obviously a little bit more than the player does, right? Whenever it comes to like how these songs are matching everywhere. So again, me as the creator, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so exciting to maybe like how you're explaining it to me, like, oh, I'm gonna have a little bit more like purpose behind the decision of what songs to use and where I'm gonna put them and how they're gonna be places. And it's
I
maybe it's just
appreciate
yeah,
that. That's dope.
it's exciting from my end because I'm like, again, I listen to it so much. So yeah, that's so cool to hear that end of it because it adds some story to my process, and maybe it does for the viewer too that hears these songs nonstop whenever they play. I mean, I fight whenever I play like just the other day it was 12 rounds, so I have the luxury of having a little bit more time inside of the game for those songs to play.
Yeah.
Because if the viewer didn't know, the songs play like in track order, so you never really get to like far into the album unless you have really long fights, which is nice. So if you wanted to listen to the rest of the album. Uh, have a long fight. Or we just talked about it today in the meeting where we're like, we got to find a way to shuffle these or
Yeah.
to get the viewer to hear because like some of the best stuff, like some of my favorite stuff, is at the end of the album. So it's it'll be exciting to get
Shuffling
everyone
is
to
important. We
yeah,
need
yeah.
we need shuffling in video games.
It reminds me of like Need for Speed. You ever play those games like way back in the
Mm-hmm.
first Xbox? You could press the right controller and
Yeah.
like
It
Black
skipped
Betty
the
would come.
song.
Yeah,
Go.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like yeah, that's
GTA
very much.
radio.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%. No, it's insane. But I'm gonna take a little bit of a left turn with the conversation because it's something I wanted to ask you personally, and it's something that I always kind of dive into. But everyone, like you started with Throw the Fight before you were involved. When it comes to the music, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so was I. So I was a part of involved in Throw the Fight before Coach Dave was even existing. Like I was just an enjoyer of the game. I liked it, the fitness aspect of it. But why did you get involved in VR boxing? Is not like advertised on the mainstream. It's not something that is up there just yet. It's a very small niche community. It's not as well known as some other things. So how'd you find VR boxing, and then what got you not only to like it as a fan, like someone that is just playing it for their own time, but then I personally don't know how you got involved in with Ian. If you don't know, guys, we referenced Ian earlier. Ian was the guy that fully created the first game. He is still involved in the second game, but he's the guy. He's like the thrill of the fight
I'm calling
guy.
him the box father.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly, and it's crazy because not a lot of people know. Like maybe like the core group kind of understands that Ian created the first game, and then there was a Halfbrick collaboration that kind of intertwined the two, and
Sorry.
now you're all good. And then we have, he's involved now, but not so heavily. But yeah, so I'm curious to see how your process started because we all have different. I found Throw the Fight 1, or I found Throw the Fight 2, or I got in it for fitness, or for mental health, or for the sake of having something to do. How did you get involved in VR boxing?
I did not have a headset. A friend of mine had a headset. I had played it 3 or 4 times when I was visiting my friend, and he was really, really into it. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool! Like, you got boxing? Like, you can box and in VR? Okay, there's robots in here." And I was like, "Oh man, coach is dope!" Like, I just thought it was really, really dope. It was one of those things that I hadn't dove into VR. I had been a gamer forever. Like, we won't go down that rabbit hole, but I've been a gamer forever. And I went to Full Sail University. I have a music production degree from Full Sail University. And the linkage between Thrill of the Fight and myself for that, to answer your question, comes from a guy named JD Mayer. Shout out to JD. JD became a friend of mine during COVID when we were in lockdown and the school was hosting virtual mixers for alumni to network, right? They created a social thing. This was like really, really early. Me and JD met, hit it off instantly. He had a room full of gear and I was asking about his gear. He was asking about my gear, and that's where we started at. JD has done music for a ton of different franchises over the years. I was a fan of his for this was another, like, up in the air type of blessing, right? To meet somebody that you're a fan of their work as a gamer before you get to meet them, and then you're like, "Oh my god, you did this thing. Like, that was amazing. How did you come up with that?" We became friends, and he gave me a call one day. He said, "I'm getting ready to work on a project when I'm actually getting ready to go out of the door, but I'm tasked with a project as a lead, and they need a theme song for it. And would you be interested?" He said, "I was on your website. I love your work already. Like, just need one song. Like, would you be interested in doing it?" "Sure. Absolutely. For you, like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it." Couple weeks went by, got on a call with him and Ian and another individual, shout out Justin, and said, we need a theme song. Here's a VR boxing game. Are you familiar with it?" I was like, "Yo, I played that game before. Oh yeah, I know what that is for sure. Here's the direction that we're kind of going in. Here are 3 references for the tracks that we kind of like that we would use for it, but we want a different spin on it." And I said, "Give me a couple of weeks." 2 weeks later, I was done with the main track, at least with the draft of it. The idea and framework were there. I submitted it. They liked it. I said, "It's not finished. Let me finish it up." And I finished it up. And that was that.
And
Three
that's the one
weeks
that
go
we
by.
all hear, the throw the fight. That's the theme.
Yes,
Yep.
that's the main theme. Did the main theme, based off that. It was great. Loved it. Oh man, life's dream coming around, right? As a kid, I always wanted to have a song, one song in a sports video game. That's what I wanted to do since I was in 6th grade. Mission accomplished. Great. 2 to 3 weeks go by. I get a phone call from Ian. He says, "Can we meet?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, what's wrong? Like, what do you need? Like, here, deliverables, remixes, edits or anything like that." Okay, cool. And we sat down virtually, like we're doing right now, chit chatting about life and whatnot. And he says, "Okay, how do you feel about doing the rest of the soundtrack?" And I was like bawling on the inside at this point, right? I'm like,
That's
"Oh my
amazing.
God, like this just happened." Like, for real. Yes. No, for real. You want me to do the rest of the sound? Yes. Like, we love the title track. And I said, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, how many tracks do you need? What are we looking for? And so forth. And had creative control over it. And that's when I started designing the rest of the tracks. So for like the next 10 months, 11 months, it was one track just about a month where I was curating every little thing about it, because I've been a part of this world before. I've been a part of fitness and adjacent to boxing and whatnot. And being a longtime gamer, I've never seen a game that delivered a soundtrack for the gamers.
Mm-hmm.
So me being a fan of soundtracks, I was like, this is a soundtrack for the gamers. If you love this game, I'm hoping, this is just me, I'm hoping that one of these songs will fit your personality type when it comes to the character that you are when you're boxing in this game. And so we went through. This was COVID. This was every month we were meeting. I was working on tracks, sent them drafts, calling my friends up. Shout out all my friends that are on the album that decided to take this journey with me. Amazing artists. I say this all the time. My friends are dope. Like, Coach Dave, I would hope we're friends now. Like, my friends are dope. Like, and that's where that journey started with JD, and led me to Ian, and Ian to everybody else, and still Ian. It's my guy.
That's it's exciting, and one thing that really stands out for me, I you said like it was a goal of yours since you said did you say 6 years old or sixth grade?
6th grade. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say because there's such an old memory, of it reminds me of fighting for me because whenever I was young, I was like, I want to fight, and they were like, that sounds stupid. And I'm like, no, not like fight like on the street. Like I want to like train and fight, and then it just sounded dumb. And then like I'm in middle school telling people I want to do this. You know what I mean? Then going to high school, it's like you're a idiot. You got to stop and do math. And like, and so I had this like, I want to do this, I want to do this, and everybody was just like, whoa, definitely don't. And then I did it, and then I'm like, oh, it's worked out. Oh, look, mom, I'm on TV. Hey, look at this. Like a whole build a whole life around it. And when I think back at it now, it feels like a previous life because I'm like so like not intertwined in it. But my point is that I can relate to having something and like feeling it. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I'm 12 and I feel this in my body, and I'm trying to get there. Like you're not going to change my mind. Like this is what I feel.
Right.
It's what I want to do. And so I kind of relate to that a little bit. So that's where my mind goes with the story that you told. How does that feel? Like you had that feeling young and you felt it, and now you're here, and now we're talking about it, and now it's like, and now you just got done with a meeting where they're like, "Hey, get involved, like more." They're like, "Hey, fucking get here and here and here," and I'm like excited for you. I'm like trying to sit back and stay muted, you know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, they're trying to throw you in everything, and like for me, that's exciting because like to hear that you had this goal and now you hit it with the like soundtrack one, and now you met, and then you're the whole album's there, and now they're just like, hey, more. Like, how does that
Yeah.
feel for you? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
I I got to start with where the music started. That was game music specifically. for music in general as a totality, like I'm going to do this the rest of my life, period, hands down. Nobody's going to tell me anything about it. Even if I do it on the side, right? That was
Mhm.
always a thing, starving artist type of thing. Stevie Wonder, Master Blaster. That song specifically changed my life. It as a young child, that song did some digital voodoo on me. And I said, I whatever this song is making me feel, I want to make other people feel this way with music.
And
I want to do that.
you're referring to the, let's just call it the vibe the song gave
Yeah.
you, and like feelings that you were that, and then what kind of came from those feelings. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Euphoria almost. Like there's it's it's not full on. I don't know how full on Euphoria feels, but I would say like
Mhm.
5% of Euphoria that you get from when a song or piece of art captures you
Oh,
and
for sure.
stops your whole thought process. Right? It's like whatever you've been through, whatever you're going through, or anything of that nature, there's a song, a music video, or something that can tap into that and make you say, I'm glad I got to experience that. That's one thing I wanted to do with music.
What is the feeling or vibe or whatever we're gonna call it, or maybe you have a better term than I do, but what is that feeling that that song gave you way back when, that you're like, well, this has changed my life? What was that? What was that life changing feeling or vibe, or maybe just direction that it sent you in, or what was that?
As I said earlier, from the environment that I come from, standard, regular hood in the US type of environment, that song said we'll be jamming until the break of dawn.
Hmm.
Well, it doesn't matter what's going on. We can find a way to feel good. We can find a way to make things work. That's what that song did for me. As a young kid, like I remember, not having hope in things. I remember
Hmm.
not having fortitude or awareness or understanding of why things were the way that they were. But that song was like, we're gonna be jamming. And that's what that's the only way to this day, that's the only way I can describe it. Like,
No, for
but
sure.
you
No.
know it, right? It might not be that song for you, but there is a song for every human. I don't care if it's Happy Birthday. I don't care if it's
Cool.
Baby Shark. I don't care what song it is. There's a song that captured the spirit and mind of every human. And as a baby, they jam to them. They dance.
Oh
They,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you know what that is, right? You see a kid getting down to something that's playing on the radio while you're in the kitchen or the car. That's what I wanted to do. And fast forward to be able to, I hate using the word validation, but I'm so happy to be able to use validated because I was one of the individuals. I like to think I'm one of the individuals that have a traditional music background, learning music traditionally on my own for the most part until I went to college and diving into it, working at Guitar Center, buying all the gear and so forth, and reading every manual. Like while kids were reading, books for school, I was picking up children's manuals. I was
Mhm.
picking up any manual I could find to get my hands on to learn how something worked or how to work it. I would do that. To fast forward to that and somebody saying, I like what you do. This is not the first time, but this is like the one that was that childhood sixth grade me saying, I'm playing double dribble and I want to put some music and double dribble, right,
Mhm.
in the background. That was one of those things that when Ian said yes to the title track, it was over the moon. And then when they came back and said, we would like you to do the rest of the soundtrack, it was like, what universe am I in? Pitch me right now.
For sure.
Like
You're for sure.
I told this to my wife, when it's something that you work your whole life to do, it feels a certain way. You know what that's like, training all those times and you got your first really good win, whether it was a knockout or not, and you got the ref grabbed your arm and put your hand in the air. Nobody could tell you anything in that split second. You accomplished the goal that you worked for. And to me, that's what this was about. And be able to have people appreciate it, have people want to share those moments and create moments like these, I think is that's where the payoff is coming from for that. because I didn't have to change to be anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to do what anybody else thought you should hear in there. But and being a musician, composer, producer, I did it for the people. We create to share. We don't create to keep it in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to experience it. And if it's not for you, salute. It's not for you. That's okay. Some things aren't for me either. And that's okay.
Yeah. What are some of those attributes that you got from, let's just say, that song that kind of kept you going? Like, uh, did that bleed into your real life? Was it did it bleed into, like, because obviously your music is your real life, right? But then, like, for instance, I have fighting, right? But then, like, I'm also like a dad. Like, I'm like also like watching Miss Rachel like 60% of my day. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like like it bleeds in, like my fighter of like the fighter part of me bleeds into everything. um and you had such a like an awesome push, and that's what the way I see it, especially, I don't come from like a family of like of anything. That sounds bad, but like well, I wasn't full. I like our kitchens wasn't full. Like our house wasn't glamorous. Like I had brothers. We shared beds until like our teenage years. Like we like shared
Working
rooms.
class.
Yeah, like we're. It's just that. So like whenever I like, it's funny because we talk often, but we never talk like this. So like I'm hearing a lot of the stories for the first time, and I'm relating to it for a lot for the first time. And it's funny because we kind of went down like a similar path, and we have different, not the different, but we have like the same mindset with what we've done and what we've done recently. Because it feels like, uh,
The vessel was different.
but not just that. It feels like, man, I wish I could put this into better words than what I'm about to do, but but
Go for it.
no, yeah, it just feels like what reality are we in? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what what do you mean things are going this way? What do you, like, for your instance, like, what do you mean you want me to make the rest of the album? Like, obviously I'll make the rest of the album. Like, what do you yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's, and it's exciting for me, to hear that story coming from you, because it's like comforting, because you're like, oh, you also got the, maybe you didn't have like the cookie cutter upbringing and the picture perfect route, and then you're like grinding, and maybe you can relate to this, where you're like, yeah, I've been hustling for 10 years, and I haven't, like, living paycheck to paycheck, like I don't even like, is this going to pay off? Like, I put all this work into this, and then if it doesn't, then you're kind of like in that limbo. Then I'll have to, like, work at Costco or something, and then think about music or something, or like, like I don't get to scratch that fighter itch or whatever it is. And we were lucky enough to
Yeah.
scratch the music itch, and Ike was lucky enough to have the fighter itch and then be in the fighter world now. So it's exciting to see your progress. It's exciting to see you go through it, even as a spectator, because I'm not like involved, like intertwined into every little thing that you are into, so as a spectator, it's exciting to see someone else find themselves there, because not all of us find themselves there. Like, we're not all of us are doing what we love, not always get the opportunity, or for whatever reason. But you seem like you found yourself there, which is extremely exciting.
You want to hear something very few people know unless you listen to my podcast?
Yes, I
I
do.
started this journey at 40.
That is insane.
I started at 40. I had been doing music my whole life. I
Mm-hmm.
was a healthcare professional. I worked in hospitals and nursing homes since I was in my 20s. I've done a bunch of different stuff, but I worked trauma, I worked Alzheimer's and dementia, I worked transplant, I worked laboratories, I've worked rehab, I've done a ton of things in healthcare. And healthcare is how I built my studio.
Yeah.
But I my jump off the porch, as the young people say, I jumped off the porch at 40 in 2017, and everything changed from there, because I said I could keep doing this on the side, or I can do this full time. I've given healthcare and giving. I've always been somebody that wanted to help. I've always been somebody that wanted to be in service. That's never changed in excuse me, in how I operate. I've always done that. So the in service of bigger projects, in service of other pieces of work and helping people do things was always something I wanted to do. And I started this. I went back to school at 40. Graduated at 42, valedictorian, top of my class, killed everybody there, 3.7 GPA. Um,
Hell yeah.
but post then, it was like, if I can grind, nonstop for 3 years, nonstop with my wife's permission, by the way, for 3 years, I should be comfortable enough to where I'm established and I'm a local name and I can do this full time just to pay car notes and bills. That's all I wanted to do. And the rest was, blessings coming in from different spaces and just trying to be in service. And enjoying the ride. Like, way too old to take a lot of things and without taking them with a grain of salt. Unless you got to add some seasoning to some things and it makes it make sense, right? That type of thing. But to those 40-year-old fighters, come find me. I don't want to fight these young people. They're too fast for me.
Good luck to you. A lot of them are young. Even for me, like I don't know how I ended up being the old person in the Discord. I'm like, man, what are you guys talking about? Like, just because you're 15 doesn't mean I'm old. Like, you come, I'm in my prime. Let's get that straight.
Exactly.
No, it's refreshing to hear your. I know we're like, on YouTube right now, like recording this and people watching, but I'm genuinely happy for you. I'm happy to see that, like, hear that story, and because I've been through a ringer. I've been in the fight world enough to kind of see the stories and hear people like not get it, and whether however route they got, they got to the point where they didn't get it, and I've seen the outcome of that enough to feel it and to be familiar with it, and I've experienced it myself. I wasn't making a killer like in a mansion fighting in the UFC or like fighting Floyd Mayweather or something, so it's not always like rainbows and sunshines. And then to hear that you got your rainbow, you got your sunshines, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's awesome to hear it, and it's refreshing to hear.
My wife and kids are my rainbow and sunshine.
That's amazing.
Sure.
And that's a perfect way for me to turn with this conversation. I always want to, like, you're the guy behind the music of Thrill of the Fight 2. We know that. But I always want to dive a little bit deeper into that. You are a father, you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
You are a husband. How much of that life, you have music, I have fighting. For me, like, the fighting, everything kind of bleeds into it, right? Like even like the fight style, like my fighting life bleeds into the way I parent. I'm just like hard ass, you know what I mean? I'm just like, what are you talking about? You're tired. Like, get up, please. Like, what do you like? My kids work out every day, and if they don't, I'm just like, what are you even talking about? You're not going to work on your health today. Are you out of your mind? So I'm like a hard ass dad. I homeschool my children. Like, we're like on it. Like, we're like a one unit team. So like,
Same.
fighting very much bleeds into my personal life.
Yeah.
My dad life, my husband life, my everyday duties. Tell me a little bit about that. I don't know anything about.
Sometimes you got to switch stances. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you got to fight on doing a handstand with like making spaghetti. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, yeah. So like, I would just want to dive into that a little bit. Like, how much of your drive, obviously, probably a ton, right, comes from your family, and like I have to make the lights go on. I have to put food on the table, and I have to do all these things, and so do you, most likely.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So there's that drive that's there as a father, and I feel like as long as I'm talking to someone that can relate to that drive as a father, I feel like that encompasses everything. Like, you could throw everything out, but if you kept the father portion, like, we'll still be all right. But you could throw the fighter out, you could throw any other part of me out, but if you kept that portion, like, I'll be all right. So like, it really does hold me together. Yeah, to tell me a little bit about your experience as a father and that process for you, even as a husband. That's being a spouse is no walk in the park.
Yep. Yeah. I clock in every day.
Yeah.
I don't know if I get to clock out. I've yet to been told that I clock in, but clocking out, I don't know. Maybe that's just sleep. I'm not sure.
No, sleep is not even, because how old are your kids? Let me ask you that. Are they little?
I have
little,
three teenagers. I got 17, 14, and 13.
Okay, so I'm like approaching your era, because I'm like, my oldest is 10. So
okay,
but I have an army. I have a 10. I have a 9. I have a 2, and I have two 1-year-olds. So
Okay.
I have twins. I have a fresh newborn like right ahead of them, and then the two on top.
Oh
Uh,
man,
yeah,
I'm
so
gonna
it's
send you some Gatorade.
they send me anything, Pedialyte, whatever you got, electrolytes, like everything and all of it.
Electrolytes. You're definitely
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
need some.
So now you get what I mean by like the father portion of me really does
Yeah.
encompass everything. Like it's everything. It's all the time. Even when I'm like in the Discord and someone's like acting up, I'm like, dude, come on. Like I give like a
The
father
dad
speech.
mode is real, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, come on,
especially
Discord.
online.
This isn't you. Be smarter. Think about how you're gonna feel tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's just like, shut the hell up. Please be nice. Come on. Like, but anywho, the father portion of it. How much of that portion of it, motivated you to get the music gig done? Because like you said, it was kind of like a side gig for such a long time, and then you kind of like pulled the trigger and said, "No, I'm gonna do this." Uh, how'd that go? Was it a part of it? How did it bleed into it? Was it how did your family take that leap of faith? Because it is such a leap, right? Yeah, how'd that
M-
experience go?
My wife is the very best. The very best for me. Not for anybody. Let's not get that twisted. She's the very best for moi.
Yeah.
um, we're both an acquired taste, and we happened to find each other many, many, many years ago. We're coming up on 18 years, and she has been somebody that, the voice of doubt that you have in your head.
Hmm.
She was the roadblock for the voice of doubt that, and we have a family tradition that we started when we started dating, and it's the flip of a coin. There's a 50-cent piece or a dollar piece or whatever everywhere. Like one of us always has one on us at any point in time. And that's how we make decisions, by letting the universe decide on some of these things. When I'm coming to her with decisions, she's like, I don't really care, flip a coin. Like one way or another. Like but she has been the one that's done the traditional holding down the home, rearing of the kids while I'm in a man cave grinding out things. And then we alternate because I'm a full-time dad as well. The fun part of is I get to be the bad cop sometimes, which works out. And I'm also raising 3 gamers. Well,
Hmm.
2 gamers, and the other one's like byproduct from the other 2 doing it,
Yeah.
so to speak. So that part is, it filters through my personality of gathering inspiration from anywhere I can gather inspiration from. Having conversations with your kids, you know how that goes. Like it's going to change when they get to be teenagers. And one thing, my parenting style is one of, I want you to do your research. I will probably not tell you no if you do your who, what, when, where, why, and how much. If you bring me all of that and you can pitch it to me, I pretty much don't tell my kids no when they've went through that level of work.
Yeah.
And it's work because I'll send you back with drafts,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's been my later, teenage years of parenting type of style that went into that, because I have to do that with every job I've had.
Yeah.
I had to consider who, what, when, where, why, and how much. You know, and I think that, at least for me, it's been good. It helps us keep our relationship strong, solid. They can tell me just about anything. There's a healthy level of, I don't want to mess with dad. And
Yeah.
then other times it's like dad can handle it, and whatever it is. I like being a superhero to a degree to my kids,
Oh yeah.
to where they see it's really nothing that I can't do, because I think for a lot of people in society in general, especially younger people, you need to see it happen. You need to see it exist. And if I start with it at home and it's able to filter outside of that, I think it'll create a well fulfilled time in existence till you're ready to, pivot to something else.
Yeah.
But as far as my parenting style, like I try to be as fluid as possible. And again, I want you to do your research. I want you to have confidence. Confidence is important,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, today. Like that's a huge thing with everything on the outside, trying to tell your kids they have ADHD or
Hmm.
they, not to say that people don't. I'm not trying to speak against it. I'm just saying with
Whatever
all the
the issue
things
is,
that
yeah.
yeah, that help create those doubting things that naturally occur with us as humans, right? We don't need any added doubters outside of the voice in our head saying this won't be good. I want to do the opposite for them. I want to help plant that self encouraging and not self sabotaging.
Yeah, and you know what's I think you kind of accidentally did it just by simply telling people that 2017 was like 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? And to know that you were, you know, people are like for instance, I'm like the old guy, right? I'm 34 for the record. Okay, I'm like a dinosaur to like these kids, but like to know that like you pulled the trigger at 40, and then something that you were grinding for, even if it is behind the scenes or back of your head, or when you have time to grind for it, and something like that didn't even come to until 40 years into life is just intense. So maybe but accidentally you're not only teaching the viewer that's listening to this, and maybe they're a little bit younger, and or maybe they're older, maybe they're in their 50s and they're just like and then you're like, just give it a few, give it some time, let it cook, let it marinate a little bit
Let them
longer.
cook.
Yeah. Oh, whoops, whoops, I'm talking like the youngins. But but yeah, it seems like maybe accidentally you kind of you make that happen, not only for the viewers that heard your story, but even for your kids. I mean, my kids like watch like a hawk. Like they will see everything. They see when I don't do workouts because I'm like on them about it. Like if Dad skipped a day, you're like, hey, you
Mhm.
didn't do any. What do you even? I'm like, you're 12. Shut up. But yeah, yeah. Like it's exciting that you had the opportunity to show by example that consistent work and it goes such a long way, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's not something that you're going to work on music and you're going to get on YouTube and tomorrow some guy's going to call you, and it's just not that the way a lot of things work. It wasn't like that for fighting, it wasn't like that for getting on the Halfbrick team, like it wasn't like that for anything. And it's most likely not going to be like that way for the person that's listening. So it's exciting to hear that people like, if they're like, oh, I'm in my mid 30s and I'm not like rich and famous and have a mansion, I'm a failure. You're like, slow down. You know what I mean? Like, let's just give it some time, have consistent work at something you love, hustle in the background while you can, while you're making the life to where you can hustle on that thing that you love, until, it starts to outweigh itself here. And, I'm a good example of that. You're a good example of that. And I think that's like the biggest message that I got from even just like the conversation that we had today is that consistent grind is you can copy and paste it anywhere, to my life of the fitness world. Or I mean, it's funny, even like throw the fight too, like the foundational, like the whole gig of this, like how do I get better at something like that, like VR boxing, consistent work. I don't care if you're 50, I don't care if you're 20, I don't care if you're 20 and you're working like a sloth, or if you're 50 and you're hauling ass. I'm going to make some progress, not the 20-year-old. The 50-year-old is going to make that progress. So it's like, it's a it's funny that you can copy and paste it anywhere, and that goes with anything and everything. Whether you're sitting in a cubicle having a thrill of the fight to match, or making music, or for me trying to create content to make sure that it's quality, and the point gets across, and kind of like we mentioned, then we're also juggling everything else, right? So it's just it's nice to hear that the you got your flowers, and we'll continue to receive them based on today's meeting that we had, which is, again, I'm so like hyped for you, man. I'm like behind the scenes, I'm like, how can I, like, he was like, get ahead with Chaz was like, get with Edward or Sean to make sure like these things are working. I was like, I'm gonna get involved, I'm gonna be in his DMs, I'm gonna make sure that I can get my nose in here and be like, how can we, like I want to make sure, like I want to make sure that your there's no lack of conversation that'll get you involved. But yeah, my whole point of that is just it's nice to hear that. a lot of people feel like the goal's too far away, or it's so unattainable, or I have to, like day one is so daunting. But to hear a bunch of finish liners, and
Yeah.
it feels good to see you do
At
well.
at the center of all of those things, you're 1,000% right. Right? Salute, Coach Dave. Like double. You're 1,000% right. At the nucleus of that, be a good human is going to prevail over anything else. Just try to be a good person. Some things you want may not be meant for you at that time. When I was 20, I wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
The music was dope. At 30, the music was great. I had toured around the country. I had been DJing. I was on the radio. I did all of the traditional stuff, but I wasn't ready to do business in that way. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
ready to be in service in that way of music. And when I came around to that point in my life where I was ready, I was honest with myself. That's the first thing. Be honest with yourself. Stop saying everybody's being hard on you if you're not being honest with yourself. If you skip those, if you skip those two workouts and you had two donuts to replace them, it's not the same thing. Okay? If somebody says something about that, then be honest with yourself. Own up to that accountability. You should take accountability when it's beneficial as well as when it's detrimental. Because it's all going to build you up.
Mm-hmm.
It's all going to help with your tolerance, your stamina, and those other things that come into play when you playing the game or when you playing the game of life. All of those
Mm-hmm.
things will contribute to your stamina and what you're able to do. I think this is my personal opinion. It's not all of this is my personal opinion. It has not been endorsed by anybody. Okay.
Hey, don't get me started. I'll endorse everything you just said. I will say that's that's like, sure, it's your opinion, but it is one hell of a popular opinion. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like I I'll speak from experience. Like, I'm not the most religious, spiritual person in the world, but I will say one thing, that if I do good things happen. And there's been a point in my life where I'm like, hey, A happened and then B happened. Hmm. And then A happened and B happened again. I'm like, hey, if I do a whole bunch of A, so for some reason a whole bunch of B's happening, and so it's everywhere. And and again, I feel like I'm a dad at this point, like talking to an audience of like
So
young kids.
dads.
So I'm just like, hey, get your shit together. But I'm not trying to be like that. Like I'm really just trying to like whenever you were talking, I think one of the most valuable things that I've learned in recent time is having the ability to be happy for someone, having the ability to see someone else like hit a goal or achievement, and then like try to aid towards that. Like, how can I fucking get this guy even higher? How can I,
I was celebrating for you so hard before then. When you hit me up and said, "Can I get the music?" I was already a fan, and just because of the legality, I was like, "Well, let me check on this before I go one versus the other." And he was like, "I'm already part of the team." I'm like, "Have at it, enjoy." Like you
yeah,
helping me learn how to box. Like I got you queued up for everything. It's not just personalized. It says everything he releases.
that's
I want to
awesome.
check it out, and that was early on.
Hmm.
So absolutely, like the symbiotic, you were doing good things and good things came back. And you will probably never talk to a lot of people who your videos are getting into that simulated gym aspect of it, and they don't have to have the fear, like you said before, of getting a concussion
Hmm.
because they're able to get that out in an asynchronous one way type of thing through a game. But that, all of your experience in real fighting, in real training in boxing led you to doing it with ones and zeros.
It's insane.
And I need a Coach Dave bandana, by the way. Okay.
It's been
Red.
requested. It's been requested. Trust
Okay.
me. I got to get my own. Let's get my own branded ones, and then we'll go from there. No, and if you guys don't get it, okay, I wear bandanas under all my headsets. Sweat. Okay, I see so many people rifling through sweat damaged headsets. Mine's been okay. The dollar store bandana is the way to go. Yeah. No, don't get a sweat resistant face mask. Don't get all that. Get a
Those don't
bandana.
work. Ask me
Mm-hmm.
how I know. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I went through everything. I
Right.
went through the ringer of trying to like what's gonna work.
It'll
Nothing worked but the
perm your
bandana.
mustache. I promise you. Like,
No, I'm not a fan of any of the resistance stuff. I'm not just selling this futuristic bandana either. But but anywho, man, I'm happy that that people get to hear these conversations because nowadays it's all like it feels like dog eat dog everywhere. You know what I mean? And that's okay to a certain extent. It's like how I drive a lot of things. Like I'm like if you told me right now like couldn't do something, there would be an itch in my brain, and it would stay there until I scratched it. You know what I mean? Like I would just I have to like I'm just too this way. But you know, so you know, not everyone's like that. Not everyone gets to hear the story. Not everyone has that itch in their brain where I'm like I got to do something, or I'm gonna go wild. Like I have to work out. I have to make progress. So whenever people get to hear it,
There's my vision board behind me.
that's so funny because man, there was a point in time where I had like David Goggins quotes like written in my garage, like to the point where like it was just always what was going in the mind. And I spoke about it. Me and Chaz did a podcast like this before, and we spoke about it briefly. And that mental game is my entire game. It is like I will give up everything to like all the muscles, all the muscle memory, all the technique, all the everything. But if I could keep one thing, it's going to be that mental fortitude. It's like if I can have that, oh boy, I can do anything. You put me in soccer,
Yeah.
golf, for anything.
Yeah.
With that on my
Absolutely.
side, I'm going to conquer it. And I just need people to hear it. I need people to hear your story, hear my story, because we're not coming from Candyland and all Sugar Factory and like everything's going well. Like there's hiccups, there's bumps and bruises. There's a family to manage. There's the life that goes on in the midst of it all, and then you got a guy like you that approaches 40 and was like, oh, we hit something here. We had a gold mine, and we're gonna grab this axe, and we're mining and we're mining and we're mining.
Yeah.
And now you're 2017, so you're quite a few years at post 2017 of like making that decision. And now again, I'll keep on referencing it. And now like to sit today being in a meeting where the CEO of one of the biggest gaming development companies is like, hey, you need to be involved way more. So I'm excited for you. I'm happy for you. And I'm excited to see what you bring to the table, man. Like we have this game, and there's so many different variations of ways that can be amplified by music. And I'm excited to see how you get involved on a heavier level. Like I can't imagine grabbing that gold medal at the end of a tournament and there's like a theme for it. Like the theme will be played in my head, and I'll look forward to hearing the theme when I get to the tournament. Like little things like that will really become like iconic for the game. So I'm excited to see
For the
what you do.
community.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Like the community is going to be centered around the game. The game is at the core and everybody around it. And we can lock arms. You know what I mean? Red Rover style. Like to where this is the community that we built, and all of us are gonna look like Ed at the end of the day.
I'm so excited because yesterday was super small, today's huge, and that snowball is going. Like
Yeah.
tomorrow's going to be bigger, and the next day is going to be bigger, and I'm going to invite you in the next like brainstorm session that we have, so you can see the things that are coming up. Like yesterday we had a timeline like up to like next November,
Oh wow.
of improvements, of like additions and improvements and ways them. And people are like, it's full release, they're done with the game. I'm like, oh, it's a starting
Nah.
line. It's the and it's kind of like it's like all things. You get in shape, you can't just like I got in shape, I'm done, never have to do it again. You're like,
Mm,
nah, this is you have to. If anything, you have to work harder.
maintenance.
Yeah, yeah, to
Yeah.
maintain this, I have
That
to like push harder and eat better and do all these things. And now that we got in shape, now we got to like like really kill it. Like now we really have to fine tune, and we really have to focus on the muscle groups and focus on our diet and do all the things right to
we're
to
gonna
make this.
smash through every plateau within 3 weeks.
That's what's exciting to me because like I have that like fighter itch in me. So like whenever I'm in these meetings, I'm like, when I flip my desk over, I'm like, let's go now. What do you mean we got to meet again? Like, we got to do it now. So, and I'll slow down, but so it's nice to see you because you're on the same page of like that, like now, like, let's go. Like whenever I
Oh
asked
my
you for
god.
music for like my videos, you're like, here's something and here's extra, and they're like, oh, okay, awesome. Like, and so it's nice to have someone not only that is on the same page when it comes to pushing forward, but it's refreshing to have because you met the team today, but you saw everyone on that team is like, what do you need? Like, how can I not like me, I'm this, or I'm gonna do this, and this is what I'm. Everyone's like, how can I help you? I got this, don't worry, but like let me dive into, like, let me help, let me do this. And so to have you on the team and to know that that's how you're thinking and that's how your mindset is, and it's exciting. And because it's exciting, well, because of the way it's going and the way your mindset is and the way everyone mindset is on that team, it allows us to like sprint at such a fast pace. Like we're able to run so quickly because we're all just on the same page. Like no one's
Mm-hmm.
in it for anything other than the collective goal, and the collective goal very much happens to help everybody. So
That's the
it's,
key.
yep.
That supporting each other, and that's how teams win championships.
Mm-hmm.
That the defense, the tenacity, and the support of your teammates, the stuff you don't see in public, the stuff that happens in the locker room, the stuff that happens on the bus, the stuff that happens when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you missed that free throw or you made it and your teammate calls you up. You know what I mean? A random check in just to know, like, if everybody on the team is supporting each other and everybody on the team's mental is in the, if they're able to move distractions out of the way, it's like, it's magic. It's magic.
Not only moving distractions out of the way, but having support. It's like that's such a big one. Like like I've been in gyms. I've coached people on all scales, all like a 3-year-old in a local jiu-jitsu tournament. Like I've cornered at a high scale. Like I've been involved in like a competitive level, and that's like the number one thing. There's a quote that I'll pull from, but the biggest thing that the younger generation is lacking is a word of encouragement, and it
Mm,
really does like carry over to everything. That's what it reminds me of because not only what you said is very effective, obviously, right? But whenever you have that support and you have that even if it is like an encouraging word, like even simply that. But when you have that, like someone like you, like you, and just for like the viewers, you were in my DMs checking on me to make sure I wasn't going crazy. Like after launch, you're like, hey, you're just making sure you're alive and like you're breathing. like have you ate? You know what I mean? Like
right.
and that message, and just straight up, honestly, genuine and like response, like that message, that was the only message I got of like, how are you doing in that time frame. Only message. My mom calls me every day, don't get me wrong, right? But like the only message of everyone that's in that world where was like, hey, launch was fucking crazy, are you
Yeah.
you doing fine, how's the team, and it was the only message I got throughout that time frame of
Social
like,
media is something else when something launches.
mm-hmm,
I've released, helped release, and released several projects. The amount of work that you do in, like, I don't know,
24 hours.
72
Yeah, I
hours,
was about to say that first 24
like,
hours was like
oh,
nonstop.
and you do have to pause and take a breath and be like, okay, I need to recenter my brain for a moment so I can
Mm-hmm.
refocus on what has to happen. And then the crazy thing is, like, we're in the day and age now where you can't leave what you've done behind knowing it's done. You have to check on it still
Mm-hmm.
because it takes on a life of its own in this digital age of people seeing stuff after the fact. So
Yep.
those comments that you miss, or the extra videos, or somebody's in your DMs that checked on something that you thought was a bug or issue, that's, it's not a bug, it's a feature type of
Mm-hmm.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
It's one of those that it's a very different headspace for us as creators. I'm extreme self-diagnosed introvert. I don't mind being in the room that I built, crafting away nonstop. I do have to come up for air per having a family,
Yep.
right? Like that. I love that part of it. However, the rest of it is, and you'll notice from my social media presence, like outside of my website, I don't really exist outside of my website and Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's intentional. That's just who I am as a human, right? It's like, I know I'm supposed to play the cat and mouse game to be seen everywhere, to be accessible all the time, but it doesn't fare well for my mental well-being a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And I take that into consideration with people that I consider friends and or mentors or people around me. If I get a chance to check on you, I do.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm thinking about you in that moment, I got a way to send you a text to say, "Hey man, just checking in." Post check. That's what me and my buddies call it. Like it's a post check. And plus we're almost 50, so we got to check on each other. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, that type of thing. It's like post check. Yeah, I'm good. I'll call you after work. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Like and so forth. We run around like that. So it's become it's just become, who I am. Right. So if I make a bond with somebody and you haven't been like, I don't like you, you weird, get away. Right. Every now and then, like I'll check in and I get to see a lot of you because I'm boxing. And I'm
Hmm.
like, wait a minute, why did oh, like the defense video. I didn't even think about that. Legitimately, I hadn't thought about not throwing any punches when I'm sparring to kind of figure out where my lanky arms can go and how I can
Yeah.
block my body because they tearing my body up right now.
Hmm.
Like the height distance is like, and I can't even get down that low. And
Yeah.
now I got a right hook to the face because I'm
Protect the
trying to
body.
block.
Yep.
I'm a 6'3" frame, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna practice that, and that's what I did the last time, yesterday. I was just like, working on this part, and I'm like, you know what? Every time I hop into the game and I think about how I'm growing, let me check on my coach. That, that's just where I'm at. I mean, that's just where I'm at. That's all I can say.
No, and I think that that comes with time on Earth. That's what I'm noticing. It's the longer I go through things, especially a lot of people feel like maybe their experience is like their experience, but like for instance, your entire story and upbringing, we probably couldn't. I was at the south of the South. You were all the way up in Chicago, and I was like in Houston, Texas. You know what I mean? Like, but we're living very similar lives, very different, but very similar in a sense of the process. And like we went through different things, and we had different lives and totally different things. But I mean, look at that process. We similar upbringings, similar like, oh no, I feel this deep in my soul. This is what I want to do. Okay, then now I got to grind at it. I got to grind, and it didn't work out right away. And then you're like, oh, this is something, and maybe I can plant this seed here. And I got a seed today, and I'll
Yeah,
put this here, and then we'll see. And that consistent work, watering the seed, gets you where you are today. And so we have very different experiences. We have different ways of thinking, but we had a goal, we had a mindset, and we chipped away at it, and that is something that's relatable, even though our stories are different. So and that goes same thing for the viewer. When it comes to feeling like you're too late, it's too late, I'm too old, I'm too tired, I've been through it, that boat's gone. And then you hear a story like this, you're like, oh well, maybe I'm 22 and I'm being over dramatic. you know
man.
you know maybe I have time, and maybe there's a path, and maybe I just keep on trying some stuff and keep on messing up, keep on trying some stuff and keep on messing up, and kind of go through that process. And
Failing forward.
is there another way?
No.
Because if someone out there is just like success, then I need to figure out that game plan, because all
So
I've heard is that, yeah, go ahead.
I got a question for you.
Yep.
How many times, because I've done this hundreds of times a year, how many times, as you think back on your own experience with that, training and everything else, dad life, husband life, have you told yourself these exact words? Failure is not an option.
And in some which way, I would even say on a daily basis. Even today, I was driving home today, and I was thinking about, like, I'm a very intense person. And I know you're maybe saying it like on a maybe like a umbrella over like a subject or a certain thing, but I mean, like, I'm pretty like every day I'm like, this is what we're doing, and we got to go
Mm-hmm.
fast. And when I wake up, like this morning, it was like the second my eyes open and my brain turns on, it's like, oh boy. And I just like, there's no way you're getting me back to sleep. There's no way. My brain is on. We are moving and we're going. And so I could, I, if anything, I'm like the problem. I'm like, I'm like moving too quick. I'm like, I'm gonna run through this wall. I'm like, and I don't mean that
Too
like in
late.
a, yeah,
Just another day.
yeah, just the
Oh
other day,
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, thank you for watching my videos, if you guys get that reference. But yeah, like my point is that um like whenever I think about that, like what you asked, I genuinely talk to myself like every single day. I'm like, I have to get this done, and not like a task, like like again, I'll bring you kind of a little like the viewer a little close and a little bit like real into my mind here. Like I was literally like my whole family's in the car driving home today. I'm like a block away from my house, and in my head, I'm just like pep talking the rest of the day. Like in my head, I'm like, all right, this, but then not just like what I have to do to get that done. I'm like, all right, well, why do I need to get that done? Like this is not only my job, but like it's important to like teach people. It's important to like this is what. And I know it sounds like real intense, but like that's literally where my brain goes on an everyday basis. It's like, okay, well, what is my intention with today? Like, what am I going to be doing, and how's that going to affect the person that's going to be seeing it? And then so I'm very very heavily involved in the mental aspect of progress. So when you say fail forward and failure is not an option, like I feel like I have like Hallmark cards replaying in my head of like quotes and stuff.
It's very intentional why I asked it in that way, because we're different, and we're different. And most people say failure is not an option. We're thinking quitting is not an option.
Mm-hmm.
Stopping is not an option, because I don't know what my existence would look like if I didn't work in the purpose that I'm working in now.
Yeah.
That's the special thing about creators. In whatever you create, if you're not just exclusively consuming, again, this is something that hasn't been endorsed by anybody. It's my personal opinion. When you create to share, give, or provide, quitting is not an option. Some people call it failure. We have to fail. We have to fail to find out what's not going to work in order to redo and figure out the things that are going to work, which is where revisions come in. Kudos to you. I hate editing videos. My OCD in comes to videos is like every little thing is going to bother me. You can leave me with the ears with the sound, and I can work on that. I'm doing my best. I'm getting there, Dave. You've
No, I get it.
David. You've inspired me, and I'm working on bit by bit, like short 1 minute videos and whatnot. But I said that to say I asked that specifically because most people, we're so used to people saying failure is not an option. To us, quitting is not an option. And that's where that drive comes from, because you
Yeah.
have so many other things that are that umbrella, as you spoke about, is holding up. That umbrella is fortitude. That umbrella is faithfulness. That umbrella is honesty. That umbrella is legacy for whoever pays attention to it. If it's just your kids, if it's just my kids, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very good with that. However, if we can provide something to somebody else in the meantime, that's an amazing thing that we were gifted with in that point in time. So again, salute Coach Dave.
Man, it's been such a good time. We've been. I don't want to take too much of your time, but it feels like these topics. I feel like I can go forever on. But so, with that being said, man, I appreciate you coming on and having this conversation and having an honest conversation. And not so many people like. Not everyone's going to make it to an hour and 17 minutes into this thing. Okay, so the people that do,
Absolutely.
so the people that do, I'm a fan of honest conversation. I'm a fan of getting to talk. Like I I would pry and pry and pry if someone was like maybe like sat across from me and acted a little bit too corporate. I'm like, man, we got to get to know this person, and uh and that's my favorite thing about doing these is that I get to know you. And there's not a lot of times in our life that we there's not a lot of times where I'll sit down with my wife for like an hour and 17 minutes uninterrupted. So to have conversation, with someone that you don't really know that much about, like you're
Yeah.
kind of figuring out things as you go, and you're kind of hearing the story as you go. And then as the viewer, the guys that are watching, the girls that are watching, they get to know you too. And I feel like even just the beginning of our conversation of how the album came about, and now I can kind of re-listen, and when I hear it, I'm going to feel different, and it's going to create a different environment for me, and that's evolved, just by this conversation. So that's what I love most about having these genuine organic conversations that we have no script, we had no plan. It was just talk and get to know each other. So yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on the Thrill of the Fight 2 YouTube page and talking with me. I hope I'll make sure in the description, everywhere and anything that people need to have to find you, they'll be able to find you in the description.
Awesome.
But yeah, is there any last words you would like to tell the Thrill of the Fight 2 viewers that made it this far into this show?
For people that are looking for the album to be on streaming, it's not. It's in the link in the description, the link wherever Dave puts it at, which he's been so graciously doing, is the only place outside of buying the game. Go buy the game and listen to the soundtrack. Go pick up a headset, jump in with us, enjoy, get fit, have some fun, break a sweat, go get bandanas, eat well, sleep as much as you can, be a good human, and go hug somebody. If you made it this far into the podcast and we 120 in, when you sign off to YouTube or whatever, go hug somebody. The world needs more hugs.
I feel like that topic, and maybe you're like flirting with it, but we need to get on again, and we need to have a full blown topic about, because I feel like we're on the same wavelength with when it comes to like, how would I word this? Is when it comes to treating someone. I know it sounds like bizarre to even say that. Like we should all be on the fucking same page about what we're trying to do here.
It's just where we are, man.
Yeah, no, it seems insane that we're all on the same page of like, no, I want to make sure that you do well, and if you do well, then I do well, and if we do well, then hell yeah, that's what else is there? Like that's just.
We'll swap podcasts. You'll be a guest on my podcast next, and we can dive into that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We surely can.
Yeah, we need to get on again and talk a little bit more, because there's so much more. Sure, Thrill of the Fight 2 is a virtual reality boxing video game, if we didn't talk about that enough. But there's a community behind it. There's real people working on this thing. There's not a bunch of AI bots running around trying to put this thing. You saw the team today. Like, we're all in there. We're there every day, by the way. We're there every day, talking every day, trying to figure it out every day. There's not a day that goes by that we're not all together trying to make it work. So this is real. It's a community. It's a game, and the beauty of it, it's a small, like it's not. You're not talking about like Battlefield and the team that's behind it or something. This is a small knit group that you're a part of, and I'm a part of, and we're lucky to be a part of. And I feel like we got to take care of that. Like we got to take care of that group and make sure that the game does well, not just in the sake of Halfbrick financials, you know what I mean, but in the sake of, we got to take care of each other. We got to take care of this community that we have, and I'm really happy that someone like you is on the same page when it comes to that.
For sure. For sure. Yes. It's what we have as the people. It's not all that we have, but it's a good majority of what we have. And that'll be the gospel I preach at every form of fashion, every chance that I get. It's like, go be a part of a community somewhere of good people trying to do something for others as well as their own community. If it's just your own community, go do something within your own community and make that work for you. That goes a long way. Like you said, time on earth. I won't forget that. That's going to be one of my new quotes, that time on earth will teach you things, will, make you reflect on things and bring some new things to you. Old dogs can learn new tricks, whether they can physically do them or not.
Hey, it's 2025. We can find a way.
We can find a way.
We'll go to Cuba, get some stem cells shots in our knees or something. We'll find a way.
We'll make it work.
No,
there's a hill, there's a way.
100%, and maybe that's the perfect close off on this, because it really is, and it's just the mindset of. It seems like everyone I met throughout this process, it's the mindset of you, and the mindset you saw the team's like the same way. It's like, not only, if we can get this done, it's like how and how quickly. It's like, it's not even if the time frame or the finish line exists. We know the finish line exists. It definitely exists. It's like, how good can we get our time? It's really the question. So it's nice having like-minded people around when it comes to this, especially when we have such big goals. This is like literally the starting line, and we're here talking about how we
early.
Oh yeah.
So, hey, man, I'll be glad to come back anytime, and we can just chat any other time too. I salute again.
Oh, for sure, man. I appreciate you coming on. And for you guys that made it this far, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. And we have other shows. I've met with the CEO of Halfbrick. I met with Edward, the old community manager. So he had a ton of stories to go through when it comes to that. And next, I'm going to have Tren. So most of you guys know Tren.
Hey.
So Tren's going to get a haircut for me. And then. And then we're going to jump on the podcast and we're going to talk about full release because, if you guys didn't know, if you made it this far in, a little bit of like big news for Tren. He went from running a VR community to being a moderator in the Discord, and now he completely runs the entire project of Throw the Fight 2. So your story of like, oh man, I didn't really start it till I was 40. I'm 34 years old and I'm 3 months into gaming development. You know what I mean? Tren, it wasn't even something that was an idea 8 months ago. Now he completely runs the show. So it just tells you like the people that we have around are fucking sprinters. We are trying to run as fast as we can, and because of that, everyone gets to radiate that vibe. We're all just like radiating off each other. And we're just, so it's amazing having people like you around. I'm excited to talk to Tren and everyone else that's going to come in the future when it comes to the show. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on, spending time an hour and a half with me. And we'll definitely do this again. I want to create like a subtopic of like the mental game of Thrill of the Fight 2. And we can talk about, people that are, not even like the game itself and the mental part of that, but people that are involved in the game and just our mental side, the way we think, the way we're going through life, and so I would love to talk with you more about that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's
but
do
man,
that.
thank you so much. And yeah, we'll do it again. And guys, make sure you are subscribed.